Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We in this thing. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, Sports Coma representing. Like I've been saying for some time now, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. What's poppin', fam? Much love to the fam, coming at you with a late one. Wednesday, middle of the week, Saints talk. This one is a reaction stream to several different things, to be honest with you, as well. And I get so many messages from people, mostly a lot of the great Saint Think Tank family members, some other people that are supposed to be Saints people, but you know, they're, and I don't want to disparage anybody. I just, they got some smart family members out there like that's why I created the Great Saint Think Tank, because I just wanted to have just dialogue with some intelligent people, man, talking about the Saints, and not people that are like fanatics, that Saints people. I mean, people that, and I'm not trying to disparage or be mean to people, but I like to engage and talk about Saint talk with intelligent people. You get what I'm getting at? Not people that are fanboys or fangirls or something like that. I don't care how the team, the type of people mentality is like. I don't care if the Saints stink or if they be 0-16, I'm gonna still give them my money. Them type of people. Listen, if you want to do that, go ahead on and do it. Just do that shit way over there somewhere. I mean, don't come around here with it. Like you more than welcome to go ahead and do it. Just take your dumb ass over there somewhere. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to be mean. That's not what I'm trying to say or trying to do here. I promise you, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, that's why the Great Saint Think Tank is a real thing, because boy, oh boy, they got some people out here that just need to be put in the rocket somewhere and shot into space somewhere and left to their own vices. I tell you what, in this episode, fam, I'm gonna talk about some stuff. We're gonna react to several different things. They had an interview that family members were telling me about on social media. I had to keep letting the family members know. I appreciate y'all sending me the interview. But I covered the Amy Trask thing on our TSC Patreon show yesterday. I know a lot of people are talking about it today, but we covered it yesterday. And usually, I did it for the fam on the Patreon special. We talked about it. And Amy Trask, who's the former chief executive officer for the Raiders, gave her breakdown on Dennis Allen. And it's pretty much what we've been saying here. It's pretty much what we've been saying here. I don't know Dennis Allen. I don't care to want to know Dennis Allen. But what I do know about Dennis Allen, that he doesn't belong nowhere close to running somebody's football team. Maybe if you have a playground team that you want him to run, or the bitty ball team or the pickleball team, something like that, maybe he can handle that. But when it comes down to running a professional football team, he don't have no business being on top of no football team, period. And the reason why I said it is several different things. So I'm going to touch on some stuff. Shout out to some of the family members out there that keep, talking about the stuff with the dealing with the victory formation. And I'm like, fam, listen, when the Saints got into the victory formation, then he ran a play out of the victory formation. They got guys literally upset that the Saints did that. I mean, regular people upset that the Saints did that, almost like they did something sacrilegious to their religion or something. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Running a play out of the victory formation is an unwritten agreement between players on the field. It's not nothing that is established in any rule book anywhere where it's illegal. That's why when they did it, no flags came out. It is a legal move. Now, granted, when the Saints did what they did to the Falcons in the last game of the year, I promise you this will change a lot of things in terms of that when it happens on the goal line. Now, if you're on the defense and they got a guy set up with a victory play on the goal line, you might want to make sure they're doing the victory formation. That's the bottom damn line. So when they did it, people are like, you're not supposed to do that. That's wrong. I mean, I'm about to get on them, boy. I'm about to cut them up. But listen, the bottom line is this, man. At the end of the day, that's my take on it. The Saints did it. If somebody do it to us, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. We talking about an imperfect bullshit ass NFL game. What I can tell you, they greedy, they trifling. They want 18 games and all this kind of stuff, and they worrying about what you running out of victory formation. It's stupid, man. I mean, grow up, man. Grow the hell up. And if you're running out of the victory formation on the goal line, you make sure they're running the victory formation. You make sure that they're kneeling on the ball. Because they do have the ability to change it to something else. I mean, it's just common sense, man. But anyway, let's keep it moving in some of these topics of discussion we're going to talk about on today's show. Biggest issue for the Saints caused them to miss the playoffs. Now, this is an article by ESPN that was wrote by Kat Terrell. She gives her breakdown of what she believes is something pertaining to why the Saints missed the playoffs. We'll go over this by Kat Terrell. We'll also go over some of the interview. I won't play all of it, maybe about a 4-minute piece of the interview with Amy Trask talking about Dennis Allen. We'll also go over something. I'm going to try my best to actually go over this interview and listen to this entire interview with WWL with Mickey Loomis, and I think this is the last damn one of the season. And we're going to go over some articles right here about the Saints family members raising money to put up billboards around the city, a billboard up in around the area saying fire Dennis Allen. This is how serious it is and how stupid this Mickey Loomis guy is. I mean, so at the end of the day, we're going to cover it here. We're going to go over it. And listen, no disrespect, and I'm not trying to disparage people that are so-called quote unquote fans, but usually, and listen, if you're going to be a fan, that's your thing. But I don't like the fan mentality. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about somebody that's so stupid that they would just throw all their money to a team that's disrespecting them and not listening to them and just involved in utter time wasting, just involved in straight up time wasting. the type of person, and that's not everybody, the people that don't understand what kind of power they have. They just people that just totally brainless. They don't implement no power. Whatever the team says, it's 100. And if you say against that, you're wrong and you're not a whatever they won't turn you. Whatever they say, it don't matter anyway, because they don't matter anyway. If you're not using your power to sway the team to make this better decisions, then you the dumbass. It's not Mickey Loomis or Gail and Dennis Allen. You the dumbass. If they turning out a poor product on the field, and you as a person watching or going up there giving your money to go up there and be disrespected and being and shown down, and that's on you. What I'm trying to get people to understand is that if you do what you're supposed to do and implement your power and keep your stupid ass from the team, then I tell you what'll happen. That'll force them to look at their books and they'll draw back and they'll make changes. This stuff works. It works everywhere else. It'll work in the NFL. So for those who have brains, I'm asking you to join us. For those who don't, go stand over there somewhere and keep doing what you're doing, because we'll make it pop without you. We'll make it pop without you. You already don't count when you're not using your power anyway. So I mean, like I said, man, I mean, movements have been created and started with 5 to 15% of the population. Most of these people, they were not involved in some of the greatest movements on the planet. So it's a small microcosm of what we're trying to get this NFL team, who we give hundreds of millions of dollars to and pay for these arena deals, pay for the rent on these buildings, allow them to operate damn near tax-free, give them skyscrapers, and then use all your tax dollars to become the richest people in the state. And all you ask them to do is win, and they can't do that. They can't do that shit. And then you got some pompous jerk-off elitist sitting on top of the team, berating reporters when they report, telling you that you're unsophisticated and that they're not qualified. These was words that they're telling you. That's disrespectful, man. You're not qualified to talk about their NFL coaches or his coach. You're not talking about nobody but Dennis Allen. But he can't think for a second that maybe there is some truth to what people are saying when you turn and look at the team. But we're gonna go over today. I'm just gonna put it right there, man. I'm not for everybody, and that's cool. I'm only for people who want things to change, people who want to understand they have power and use the power. That's who I'm for. I'm not for somebody that don't understand what this is, that they have an ability, a power over the team. And if they be more disciplined and operate on code, things could change. If you work with other people, things can change. That's who I'm for. I'm not for them other people, man. I've been saying that for years, and the Sports Coma is the #1 longest independent running Saints podcast in the game. So I don't market for everybody. I'm only for those real people out there who want to tell it like it is. I'm not going to play with you and play patty cake with you about who these people are. I'm not going to play with you and only give you one way so I can get you to hit the subscribe button or the like button so that you will like what I'm doing. No, I'm going to give it to you real, whether you like it or not, whether it's for my team or against my team. They got people asking me, I'm trying to figure out, one of the brothers in the comment section asked me, I'm trying to figure out whether or not you a person that support the team or not because of yourself. I'm like, what? Say, these people are so conditioned that they think one-way coverage, and it's just insane. When the Saints was doing stuff that was unscrupulous and underhanded, I ain't hear anybody talking about it. When they had the stuff that was tied to the Catholic Church, I was hammering them fucking people for that. Where were you at? What were you doing? Were they doing the same? I'm telling you, I'm real deal. Whether it's for my team or it's against it, I'm going to stand on the truth. Whether they there or not, I'm going to stand on it. So anyway, let's keep it moving, man. Let's get right into it on this issue right here. Biggest issues for the Saints that caused them to miss the playoffs, by Cat Terrell. Shout out to Cat. She says Dennis Allen said he knew right away that week 3 loss to the Packers might come back to hunt the team down the road. I said that here when it happened, when they collapsed. I said that one's going to come back to bite you. It's always one. You get one every year, you're going to regret. That was it. There are plenty to regret about the 18-17 loss. Derek Carr took a hit to the shoulder that ended his game early. But that loss, one in which they were up 17-0, blah, blah, blah. I was proud of the way our guys continued to fight. I was proud of the way we finished. This is what he was saying after the season. The Saints barely missed the playoffs, though. The lost tiebreaker to the Bucs, win percentage in common games. The Packers win percentage in conference games to fall short on the final day of the season. Now, you would think of that the Green Bay game would be the one, but the Saints lost games that they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have lost to the Texans. They shouldn't have lost to the Minnesota Vikings, who didn't even have a starting quarterback. They just traded for a guy a few days before. They didn't even have their best wide receiver, and they beat the Saints before the bye. They shouldn't have lost to the Falcons after having a week to prepare for the Falcons out of the bye. But they did. And they continue to do because they are mismanaged. We said it all the time, and you can see it. It's not hard to see when you got a badly ran business. So anyway, here's a look at the biggest issue that led to Saints elimination from postseason contention. Red zone and scoring struggles. The Saints didn't really click offensively until the second half of the season. In their first 11 games, they were tied 20th with 17 red zone touchdowns. They were 29th in the red zone efficiency and 30th in red zone scoring percentage. That improved significantly in the final 7 games of the season. The Saints were tied for fourth with the 15 red zone TDs in that span and ranked 4th in the red zone efficiency and 6th in scoring percentage. So they did get better in the red zone later on. But the reality is, in football or in professional sports period, is how fast you adjust. How fast can you adjust and adapt to what's going on in real time? And the Saints have a big problem with that because they don't do that well, especially when the season started and the offense started to stink and stop and go, and it was radically inconsistent. Some games it didn't even put up a touchdown. They just were field goal kicking. And like I said, sometimes the offense will stink. Sometimes they won't be able to pass, but they'll run. Sometimes they'll be able to pass, but not run. So, but at times the Saints offense was just not any good. And it was because of a lot of things, in particular, early on the red zone wasn't all that for the Saints because perhaps they would have done better to start putting people in there that can help them in the red zone, in particular who we talking about. So what Chris Olave said, we just underachieved, man. We had real big goals and we were dedicated and locked in during training camp to be one of the best teams in the league. We lost a few games real close. I feel good with the weapons we got. We just kept getting better and better as the season went on. Now they averaged 29 points in the final 5 games, a stretch where they went 4-1. She listened, it's not in any particular order. She mentions outbursts. The Saints' communication issues were a reoccurring theme throughout the season, with Olave admitted he let his frustrations get the best of him in the loss against the Bucs, and his attitude on the sideline caused several teammates to pull aside and explain how to handle things the right way. While that particular incident wasn't caught on camera, a video from the stands appeared to show Carr letting his frustrations on offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael. And we've seen that happen all the time. Whether he cursed at Carmichael several times before he finally stopped doing it. And I can understand it was a communications between the coaches and the quarterback, his wide receivers. And then you could see Carr's accuracy stunk. It sucked. Passes were, where they had to reach for it. They were over their head. It was, thrown low. They had to go down low. And not all of the time, but a great deal of times his passes sailed where guys had to reach or jump or, it just wasn't what it was. Later in the season, Carr got into it with McCoy and had to be separated. Part of the frustrations that they struggled on the first offensive possession, scoring only 3 times on their initial drive. They kicked field goals in weeks 1, 4, and scored the first possession in week 17. They punted 10 times, missed 3 field goals, and had 1 pass intercepted. So the outbursts she mentions, quarterback play should really be at the top of this thing, but players were optimistic about the state of the offense after Saints signed Carr. but things quickly got off to a rough start. Carr sprained AC joint in the shoulder, had his worst game of the season against the Bucks. Carr left 2 games with injuries and were put into concussion protocol during the back-to-back losses to the Vikings and Falcons. Carr was booed by the family members during home games as the offense continued to struggle. However, he played some of the best football at the end of the season and threw 4 touchdowns in Week 18, time for a career high. The 15 passing touchdowns in the final 5 games was thrown by Taysom Hill. One was tied the most in the NFL at that time. Allen, who had defended Carr's play and said the outside criticism was unfair and attributed the late season improvement partially to Carr's health. Now, he would never actually, that's the one thing, that's a lot of things people don't like about Dennis Allen, because a lot of people saying this, that, and the third about Dennis Allen. And I can't believe they got actually people that actually are they got guys that are fanboys for Dennis Allen. I had some guy was talking to in the comment section defending Dennis Allen. I'm like, well, where the fuck you came from? Pardon my French. I mean, who are these people? Who are these random people? If they're even real people, they probably just bots. But it's really weird because it's not something that can be debated. The team issues, they're coming from at the top. They're coming from at the top of the team. And then when the guy who is the head coach picks the quarterback and the quarterback struggles and you don't discipline him, team people around there see that and they're not going to like that. But if you got a head coach who don't know how to be a head coach and how to deal with people, this is what kind of environment you're going to create. An environment where half the team doesn't like the guy and don't want to play for the guy. When they'll run plays when he says go out there and kneel on the ball, and they run a play anyway. They ask him and he says no, and they do it anyway. Where they do that at? If they respect the coach. Would they have done that to Pete Carroll? Would they have done that to Bill Belichick? Would they have done that to Mike Tomlin? Would they have done that to DeMeco Ryans? Would they have done that to McDaniels in Miami or anybody that's a head coach in the NFL? Where do they do that at if they respect you? Crazy. But anyway, we know about the Carr thing. I talked about Carr. Carr played better on the back end because he was supposed to. A lot of this was supposed to be early game. But the pressure, somebody had to put pressure on this dude to improve because he was out there staring down half the field. He wasn't progressing through the progressions. He wasn't going through the full plate. He was looking one side while guys were running free, wide open on the other side. When he finally started cycling through, he seen options and was able to fire it on them. So, I mean, it's not real. It's not difficult to look at. I mean, it's on tape. You can look at the tape. It'll show you everything that you need to know or see. Defense took a step back. It did. In the game against Green Bay, it took a major step back. They finished tied for 28th with 34 sacks. Longtime pass rusher Cam Jordan, who injured his ankle late in the season, finished with the fewest amount of sacks, too, since his rookie year. He admitted several times over the course of the season that he needed to figure out how to get the defense to start faster. The defense allowed the first possession score 9 times, with 5 of those being touchdowns. The Saints defense finished 22nd in rushing yards allowed, which included their inability to stop running backs. It was an improvement over 22, but it marked a downward trend for a team that was a top 5 against the run just 2018, 2020. Their one major area of improvement was in the takeaways. They finished 4th with 29 total and tied for 3rd in with 18 interceptions. On the issues, we could not convert them and turn them into touchdowns. Lack of a running attack. Saints started the first 3 games of the season without AK-41 because of what happened with the Vegas situation. His return didn't automatically improve the game. He averaged just under 4 yards per carry and finished just under 1,200 yards of scrimmage yards, which is the lowest of his career. Saints didn't get much from free agent Jamal Williams, who scored only once with that touchdown at the end of the season. The prior year, he led the NFL with touchdowns, and he averaged almost 3 yards per carry. So the Saints finished 21st in the rushing offense and averaged only just over 102.5 rushing yards, and the lowest since the 2015 season. Not a very good measurement. So lack of running game. Defense kind of took a step back. And she mentioned quarterback play as well as the outbursts of the community. And I would kind of term outbursts as communication issues. That's what I see that as, which I agree. Maybe not in this order, and I don't think she was putting an order to it. She was just throwing them out there. But I agree with all of these. And I think head coaching should be put up there as well, because a team is not going to be as good as its instructor. The guy at the top is the one to assemble all of the pieces of the team. The mindset and the assistant coaches, the coordinators, are people that he hired that want to run that area of the team. So if they're not on their game, something needs to be done to remove them and find somebody else. And that type of thing, if it was done during the season in terms of promoting somebody above somebody who wasn't doing their job in terms of one of the assistant coaches, it could have meant a difference in games. It could have meant another win somewhere, a pickup of a game that we ultimately left. But you would never know, because nothing was done. It was remained the same, and nothing was done in terms of doing it. Even though pressure was put on them to do it, the guy simply said that we're going to make changes and never made any changes. And then when the season ended at 9-8, he had a press conference. We covered the last stream in which he said he was pissed how the season ended, when he, the dumbass that need to be pissed with himself, because he had the power to change it during the season and did nothing. So I don't want even hear it when we was saying it the whole time. The whole time. All right, so let's go here with it. Let me play for you guys this report here from, and shout out to GNO, WGNO. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear this report here by WGNO. Here we go.
Fans upset about this season's record say one person is to blame.
And they're raising money to show their frustration with head coach Dennis Allen. They want everyone to see a billboard on Earhart Boulevard near the Saints facility saying, "Fire Dennis Allen." It's a GoFundMe campaign. It runs until January 22nd. The goal is $1,800. So far, this group has raised $740. So we may see that billboard after all.
All right. So as you can see, people ain't paying, man. People ain't playing. But all that just to prove a point to some ignorant, arrogant people. But that's okay. You can't beat the Who-Dats. You can't disparage them and see 2024, all this other stuff, all this, the veil's coming off, man. The energy's different. People don't still have that same blind ass energy where if they say do something, then they're doing it. That's not working no more. See what I'm saying? This is the age of empowerment. And that's what I'm trying to tell people is there's power in utilizing your power, having your power. Everybody have a certain amount of power that they can implement in their life. You decide on where you want to place that. And would it be beneficial to place that to this organization when they're not operating in good faith? That's a decision that you would have to make based on what they're doing. There's plenty enough evidence out there. A lot of the family members are not buying the tickets anymore. They're not going to the events. Why? Because for the last 20 plus years, we've given them our money and they responded in kind. And the reality is you don't put good money after bad. I'm sorry. We don't operate like that. Some do. If you do, go over there and do it. I'm not doing it. I'm just going to keep it real deal with you. I'm not doing it. You know, I'm not in the habit of doing something. I'm just not the one for that. I'm sorry, I'm not the one. But let me hit y'all with this, man. This is something I want to share with y'all too, because we covered this yesterday on TSC. Shout out to our Patreon champions, our YouTube membership family. They seen this. I covered this yesterday on the Patreon show. This is coming from Amy Trask, who's this former Raiders CEO, and she cut loose on Dennis Allen. She don't like Dennis Allen. A lot of people don't like Dennis Allen. And like I said, the way Dennis Allen got to be the Saints head coach was not because it was some honorable thing. It was a good old boy hookup. That's what it was. They had several coaches that were way more qualified than Dennis Allen ever could be. Dougie Peterson came here with a Super Bowl ring. The Saints let him walk out the door. Eric Bieniemy operates a very good offense and is very disciplined. They talked to him for 8 hours and then finally decided to offer him an OC job. Brian Flores and others that are very bright and brilliant people. Flores is a guy that a lot of people could believe could be a D'Amico Ryans type. Very intelligent person. But in the end, we went through all of that just to come back to Dennis Allen, who Sean Payton told Mickey Loomis to hire, and he hired him. That's pretty much in a nutshell how it went. Sean told him to do it, and he did it. There's nothing deep about that. Nothing deep about it at all. And pretending like I don't know that happened is just stupid. Come on, keep it real. The guy had zero resume to get that job, and nobody was asking him to interview for the job. But the proof is in the pudding now. Listen to this.
I would ask you what your reaction was. In what world does this happen to a team where a quarterback basically gives his head coach the middle finger?
In what world? When your head coach is Dennis Allen. Susie, I'm speaking from experience. As you know, I overlapped with Dennis Allen in Oakland for 1 year. And everything I observed during that year is such that when that play happened, I wasn't the least bit surprised. Now, if it happened to any other coach, I would have been surprised. It happened and Dennis was the coach. I was not the least bit surprised. Shortly after Dennis was hired by the Saints, I was asked about him, about his coaching, his leadership on CBS Sports, on that other pregame show, CBS Sports Network. And I answered in the following manner because now I have an addition to that answer. I shared my views of Dennis's leadership, and I use that word in quotes, while he was with the Raiders. And I quickly noted that, look, we can all learn on the job, we can grow on the job, we can improve on the job. I not only grew on my job, I grew up on the job. I grew up on the job, I learned, I made mistakes, and I said, Dennis can do that as well. And what that play made clear to me is he has not changed his leadership style. So was I surprised that happened? I may have been one of the only people who was not surprised that happened.
Okay. So that's and she worked with him before. This was 10 plus years ago. We talking about with Amy Trask. 10 years ago, hadn't changed. And that was the question I was asking, because in order to be a successful coach, you have to be able to be a good organizer of people, a motivator of people. You have to be a good planner, and you have to be somebody people can trust. I'm pretty sure that people have a manager or a guy that they work with that they can't trust, a backstabby, snaky, underhanded person that tries to use other people as stepping blocks to try to get up into the business, and the backstabby guys. That's what kind of guy you have here that's running the team. And I'm telling you that you're going to have problems here, because most teams see themselves as a fraternity or a brotherhood or a sister, not a sisterhood because it's mostly men, but it's a brotherhood or a fraternity, right? And they play for each other, but they have to have faith in the head coach they're playing for that to happen. When Dennis Allen told the world that they ran a play without his permission, we didn't even have to hear that. They even take it above the victory bullshit, the victory formation bullshit. Let's go up a higher level to how we found out that they ran a play without his permission. He said it in the press conference. He told on his team. That's called throwing them under the bus. What happened to keeping it in-house? Handling it in-house. That's the type of hypocritical bull crap that people don't like about Dennis Allen. That's what I'm talking about. When all of this stuff happened with Mike Thomas, we're going to handle that in-house. But when that happened, the whole situation happened with the play that was ran, he ran to the media and told the media and the world they ran a play without problem. But they did that on their own. And I have to apologize to Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons for running up the score on them. That don't get you no brownie points with me. That won't get you no brownie points with your players. It won't get you nothing that makes you look stupid. Dennis Allen really is a stupid man. I hate to say that, man. I'm not trying to disparage the guy. I'm talking about his actions too. Only a stupid person would have done that, man. A stupid, rotten, backstabby dog does stuff like that. Ran his ass up to the press and blabbed on his team and threw them under the bus. We should have never even known about what happened on that play. We should have not known. Arthur Smith ain't shit to the Who Dat Nation and the New Orleans Saints. He means absolutely nothing to us. Matter of fact, he's fired right now. He been lost his job before they walked into that game. He was going to get fired. It was a done data for him if they had lost by 3 or 5 or 10 or 14, he was done anyway. So it's no need for you to even say that to him. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This is a really stupid person, man. This is really a stupid person that don't have enough vision to even span out, or rather throw his team under the bus and apologize to a hated rival about them scoring an extra touchdown on them out of the victory formation, something we wasn't even supposed to know about. We weren't even supposed, and that's what I'm saying, man. Just really stupid and underhanded to do that. I mean, that's just unbelievable. That's why I said he's going to have difficulties learning. He's going to have a lot of difficulties having people to play for him. So if there's discussions and rumors about trading players from the Saints, more than likely it's going to be people who don't like him and don't trust him. It's like, why would they end up trying to trade this person and trade that person? Because the people that's there, that they're trying to say that there's not a split in the locker room when there really is a split in the locker room. If a team was really together and they believed in the coach, you think they'll run a play without his permission? Only fractured teams do that. I go in there and lay it down. First of all, it wasn't a very smart move to tell James to go and do that anyway. It was quite disrespectful, to be honest with you. You don't have nothing to do to play with him anyway. Let Carr go out there and kneel it down. The Carr been playing the whole damn game anyway. Let him play the whole game through. Go out there and nail on it. But you know what? If they would have asked Derek Carr to do that, Derek Carr would have told Dennis Allen, hey, we're going to run this play for Jamal. And Carr would have told Dennis Allen that and Pete Carmichael, and they would have said, okay, go do it. I'll deal with it. He would not have thrown Derek Carr under that damn bus. He wouldn't have done it. He would have fell on the sword for him. It all changed if Carr was out there. If Carr was out there, you would have never heard none of this stuff. So anyway, let's move on to this next article right here, man. We're going to play some of this stuff right here. And this is from the interview we heard today from WWL. They were interviewing Mickey Loomis. And boy, it's just under 24 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through all of this because it's, because of my emotions, my emotions is terrible. Emotions, I have to wait a little bit, before I even get to this article. So, I don't know. I might not be able to make it through it, but we're going to listen to this Mickey Loomis's final interview for Wednesday with these people. Let's see what Mickey had to say about the Saints season. Here we go. Y'all put one in.
Looking to kick off 2024 with with a unlimited guarantee and OB 50 stake.
Along with Saints Executive Vice President and General Manager Mickey Loomis. And Mickey, you finished 9-8, beat the Falcons handily 48-17. You win 4 of your last 5. So many positive things to build upon, except probably that thing at the top of the list, which would be, win the division or make the playoffs. So that's where it begins, right?
Yeah, it definitely begins there because that's the goal in the beginning of the season. And I think it was a very realistic goal to have double-digit wins, and to win the division was very realistic, and we didn't get that accomplished. And so overall, I would say it was just a disappointing season. I do like, as you mentioned, that we finished, 1-4 of the last 5, finished really strong. We saw a number of times, number of games where it looked like a good performance, offense, defense, and special teams, and so that's encouraging. But we've got to be able to do that consistently throughout an entire season.
It's just amazing. We pinpoint the same things. We talked about it, and I'm just saying perhaps, and I'm saying that not just now, but I was saying this during the actual season with Mickey Loomis. If he was a little bit more proactive in terms of putting pressure on Dennis Allen during the season to make corrections to the offensive play calling room and to make changes faster, things could have changed. But he did nothing. He did nothing but berate the reporters, talk down and disparage supporters of the team, and try to make you think that they knew what they were doing when we knew they were failing. We kept saying it the whole way, and people don't like to hear it. But the reality is I was there, you were there, advocating, prodding, pressing, promoting Mickey Loomis to take a stand, and he wouldn't do anything but make excuses and give stupid ass stats on why everybody in the NFL is scoring less points, stuff that didn't even prove his point. But in the end, now we didn't do what we were supposed to do. It's just amazing, man. Just a bunch of time wasters, man. Just time wasters. I mean, you take advantage of the situation when you got it, bro. You got to do it at that time. And now we have now they regretting it at the end of the year that they didn't win it when he could have done something at the time. Just a bunch of time wasting trolls, man. For real, man.
Let's talk about Derek Carr and two questions on him. First off, just his availability. 17 starts. We've seen the impact throughout the league, for many, many teams because of quarterbacks being injured. He fought through. He wasn't 100% every week, right, at those starts, but he fought through some stuff, this year.
Yeah, I think really people don't realize how hurt that he was during the year and still rolled it out there, still played well, did some really good things in spite of, having a really banged up body. And look, the best ability is availability, right? And so we were lucky enough during the Drew Brees years to have him available, 95% or whatever percentage of time that he was available. That's not common in our league. We saw a number of quarterbacks go down during the course of this season and every season. And so for Derek to be able to go out there, tough it out when he's hurt, that just speaks to how tough he is.
Once again, I've often said, and I said over and over again, the entire season, people was asking about Derek Carr's ability to play in these games and was he hurt? The Saints denied that he was hurt. Dennis Allen said several times, including one time in particular that I actually have on tape when I played the press conference, that whatever injuries that Derek Carr had did not affect his play on the field. That is literally his word verbatim. They refused to talk about him. People were asking, man, what this dude had. They hid and lied about the broken rib thing for months, that he had busted ribs. He had literally admitted several weeks prior to the end of the season that he had 3 broken ribs. They hid and lied about that for the entire summation of the season since the Green Bay game. They lied about it. Now, at the back of the season, the softball reporter comes up with him, giving him credit for playing hurt when they were saying that he wasn't in bad enough shape to affect his play. Now we're giving him credit for playing hurt. Amazing. This is what they do every year. The same techniques, the same stuff every year. Every year it's the same thing. Over and over and over again. They do the same stuff over and over again. And it's like a playbook. And I told you what they were going to do several weeks before the season ends. And I told you they were ramping up to try to tell you that he had these injuries, even though they hid the injuries and lied about the injuries. Now, all of a sudden, he was playing hurt during the season. Now, all of a sudden, that it could have had a degree of affecting his play. And despite that, he still had good numbers after the fact. And it's just what it is. It's what they do. They lie about stuff. And then at the back of the season, they try to use the injury factor as some type of measurement or some type of little giblet in there to try to give you some sympathy. We knew that Derek Carr was dealing with issues with broken ribs. We could tell when the guy smacked him on his chest, he bended over, like in the fetal position, like he was in intense pain. We knew that, and they lied about it the entire season. They hid it and lied about it the entire season. Nobody gonna talk about that except for me and several others, right?
And certainly towards the end, right? I mean, his numbers, you look at the last 5, 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against Atlanta. He was 22 of 28. I think he had like a 75%, 74.8 completion percentage. And, even though he was here, from March of last year, beginning of the season, went through the whole thing, he wasn't taking snaps with A.T. Perry. He wasn't on the team yet. I mean, there's a growth, right, that goes through the season for Derek Carr, right?
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. I think there's an acclimation. No matter how much of a veteran player you are, you have to get acclimated to your teammates, to the offense that you're running, the play calling, the tempo that we play at. There's all kinds of things that are different, when you change teams. And look, I think Derek did a really good job in a lot of areas. I mean, he was a top 10 quarterback in our league. He just is. Look at the rating points. Look at the numbers. Look at the performance. We get a little, we get extra critical.
What did you just say?
A lot of areas. I mean, he was a top 10 quarterback in our league. He just is. Look at the rating points. Look at the numbers. Look at the performance.
And if you're a top 10, never mind. Let's keep.
We get a little, we get extra critical because we only won 9 games. I get it. We should be critical, but there's a lot of good things that he did, and I think it bodes well going forward.
You talk to the team.
Get extra critical because it's about winning, getting to the playoffs, sir. It's playoff time, bro. You spent $150 million on this quarterback, dude. Talking about we get extra critical. You damn right we getting extra critical. It's $150 million for a quarterback who was built as the answer to the issue with the Saints offense. You had everybody. You had the receivers, you had the running backs, you had the tight ends, you had a well put together unit before the injuries started to come in. You have one of the oldest teams in the NFL. And this is not supposed to be a rebuild situation. This is supposed to be plug and play. Plug and play in playoffs. $150 million to Carr. Plug them into the offense. Was supposed to be a QB-friendly system. And Carr plugs into the offense. Offense plugs the team into the playoffs. You're going to talk about extra critical. You didn't make the playoffs. 9-8 is not a winning mark for a team as old as the Saints with that tiny window that they're looking at and the fact of what we supposed to be doing. This team is supposed to be in the playoffs. 9-8 is not a good way for this old team to finish. It's supposed to be playoffs. So yes, it's going to be extra critical stuff going on because you failed. You failed. You're a failure. The goal was playoffs. You failed, thus you're a failure. You're a failure. The goal was not to have a top 10 quarterback statistically because you're stat packing at the end of the year. The reality was to have a playoff team. So all you have now is 3 years of playoff inactivity from an expensive team, expensive offensive team, $150 million quarterback that only gets 9 wins. This was a complete team. This team was actually had a pretty decent defense at one point, and they were littered and loaded with weapons on the offensive side of the ball. It don't all fall on the quarterback. It falls on the head coach who's supposed to get his personnel around them guys together. So if the offensive coordinator stinks, he's supposed to put pressure on him. And if he keeps stinking, he's supposed to replace him with another guy or give another guy an opportunity to call the plays to see if that changes things up. He didn't do none of that. He just left it the same. fails and then says, I'm pissed. That's what Dennis Allen says. And this guy is talking about being extra critical. See, the goal is different goals here. It's different goals here. See, they're making money. So they're not as pissed off as you are. See, you want to be in the playoffs. You want to go to the playoffs. You want to play for a Super Bowl. Notice there's the different level of upsetness that you hear in my voice versus what you hear from them. You see what I'm saying? So if money is the motivation for them and they're making money despite the fact that they're failing at what they're supposed to do, they're not living up to the goals that they told us that they were going to live up to. And you as a person, as a supporter, get upset because they're not doing what they're supposed to do and they're not mimicking that same behavior. There's a problem, bro. It's a problem, fam. It's a problem there. So if you're not as upset as I am and the rest of the base is, then what are you really doing? What is really your focus here? You see what I'm getting at? And that's when things get really interesting, you know?
I believe after the season, just not broadly speaking, what was the message?
Yeah, look, I did do that. I don't do it very often. And it's really a message just for the players. And so I'm going to leave it at that. Trying to set the tone for what we expect going forward. And I thought it was well received.
We talked about Derek, and we didn't really talk about a lot of the offensive players, but we, get to some of them. But I wanted to talk about your defensive players as well. And again, the positives that you build on with Jordan Howden and not even the young guys, but Isaac Yedem, Jonathan Abram, Brian Brzee. There seems to be the building blocks there. Maybe, and I don't know how much you expected Jordan Howden or Isaac Yedem to even play this year, but they seem to have been, pretty significant factors when you needed them the most.
Yeah, there was a number of guys that stepped up during the course of the season. Some that you kind of expect to, and some that you don't. Yeah, I thought Isaac had a really good season for us, after Marshawn was hurt and he got pushed into the action. Jordan Howden, we drafted him with the idea that he was going to become a good player. And look, that timetable gets sped up a little bit, but he made good progress. John Abram, who came in here, after being a high pick for another team and trying to find a home, I thought he did a great job for us and really appreciated his contribution to our team in the locker room as well as on the field. We had some young receiver, A.T. Perry, who was thrust into action and did some good things. Now, none of them are finished products, right? But they all made progress. They all did some good things. The guys that we expected to make progress, Brian Brzee, he made progress. We had some free agents, Nate Shepard and Colin Saunders, who came here at the defensive tackle position, and I thought they did some good things for us. Carl Granderson took a step forward. So we had a lot of younger players make significant steps. Paulson Adebo had his best year. We've been waiting for him because we know the ability that he has. I thought Alante Taylor, inconsistent, but did and showed some good things for us. And so I'm excited about his prospects. Tyron Matthew did some really good things for us as a veteran player, things that we expected. And so there's some really good positive things that come out of a season. And yet, man, there's still the bad taste of 9-8. That's a bad taste for us. And I hope that our standards are much higher than just having a winning season.
And one of the things that you were able to do along the way during the season, right before the season, and in camp, was to lock up some of these players, right? To get, you did a lot of work during the season and right before the season of getting some of these guys into, that were, I don't want to say vulnerable, but get them like a Carl Granderson, get some of these guys locked down.
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword sometimes, because you're speculating about their progress. And it's sometimes, when you sign a contract, somebody, the player, exhales and relaxes a little bit and doesn't make as much progress as you want. So it's always a double-edged sword. But I'm happy with where we're at. We've got some more work to do. We've got a lot of decisions to make. But I think there's a lot of positive things.
Need to take a break. We'll be right back with Saints Executive Vice President and General Manager Mickey Loomis. This is the
Can get a liver wine or a Roman sure.
How does that work from a promotion, lateral move? What has to happen for you guys to give him permission?
Yeah, well, Kai was requested to interview for Carolina's general manager position. Jeff Ireland has been requested to talk to the Chargers about their position. Really, all they have to do is just notify the team that they want to do that. There's no permission that needs to be granted because it's a promotion for each of those guys to the top, football executives. So there's no permission that has to be asked. They just notify you that that's what they're going to do, and then certainly our guys, need to prepare and be ready to interview and put their best foot forward.
So as long as it's an advancement, like it has to be, you can't, go lateral, right?
Yeah, they couldn't notify the Saints if they want to interview me, for example, because I'm already the top football executive. So, but if it's a position that's the assistant GM or personnel director, and they're interviewing for the top football position, then they just notify. They don't have to ask for permission.
I guess I'll get my process questions out of the way. I guess
this is the thing on the Kai Harley and the Jeff Ireland thing. I know eventually some people will probably end up looking at those guys. We know Fontenot. There's rumors circulating around with Atlanta that Fontenot could be in trouble with them. I don't know how true it is, but there are rumors circulating, with him. But the Kai thing, he's the assistant general manager. He got the promotion this year. What's interesting about it is at some point, the Saints, and see, we got to have something going on here where Mickey Loomis has to give up the general manager position. He's been doing it for 22 years. It's time for him to give that manager job to Kai. It doesn't make any sense for Mickey Loomis to be holding that job when he has another job, which is the vice president of football operations. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, this dude, at some point, you've got to get out of the way, at least in terms of the general manager position. But like I said, this guy is way too comfortable in this position doing this. And it just at some point, like, progressive organizations will promote younger people. I mean, right now, Kai is like he hitting a glass ceiling. He can't go any higher than he can go because Loomis is sitting in the general manager chair and he has a job. He has a VP job. Will it hurt you to give up the general manager position to a younger guy who would take the team into the next 20 years of its existence? Get out of the way and let him have the GM chair. You've done all that you can do here, to be quite honest with you, and you need to get up off the general manager chair. Seriously, bro. You the VP, go be the VP, go do whatever that is. Leave that general manager position to Kai Harley. Let him do it.
It's a process moving forward for you as far as meetings with Dennis and Mrs. Benson and your staff. So Coach Allen last night said he kind of takes a week, to get all the emotions out of it before he meets with his staff. What is your schedule moving forward with that?
Yeah, same thing. We're in here this week. We're just talking about a few things that are more procedural. How do we want this off season and the evaluations to go? And then starting next week, we'll start talking about the player evaluations and move on from there. And look, the process of evaluating, college players for this draft is already deep. We're deep into it. Jeff and his staff and Dennis and I will start getting involved in that very, very shortly.
I'm assuming you.
So a week or so before the emotions of the season relapse, and we know Mickey Loomis hadn't been doing evaluations for the entire season. Him and Dennis Allen do the same thing. They said the emotions of the season involved. And I think that's radically ridiculous. I think that as a professional, you should be able to keep your emotions in check to be able to do fair evaluations on players. I mean, it's just really ridiculous that old ass man like Mickey Loomis be talking about his emotions, whether they winning or losing, the emotions is in the way, and he don't want that, so he waits after the season to do evaluations about the season. It's a problem there. A general manager that's not evaluating things during the season is not a current general manager. He doesn't have his thumb on the team. He doesn't know exactly what's going on with the team because he's not doing any real research and any evaluation at all because he's too emotional one way or the other. It's silly. It's stupid. And that's utterly ridiculous if you think about it. That's why I want him to get up off of here, man. And let's get somebody else that know how to keep their emotions in check during the season so they can do their job. Because the general manager's job is to evaluate. It is. That's what. And then if you think about it, all of the stuff that was happening last year when Jameis Winston was going to get into it, when didn't it sound like I kept asking y'all, where's Mickey Loomis at? Like he wasn't even there. He might as well not been there. When players are frustrated and disgusted, where is he at to calm the room? Where is he at? What is he doing? He ain't doing any evaluation. So he's sitting up there twiddling his fingers. What is he doing? You see what I'm saying? What are you doing? It's your team. This is your team. You're supposed to be on top of it like that. Guys are not supposed, none of that's supposed to even get close to getting to the press. I mean, if you're on top of the team and you know what time it is with your team, then you know how to appease stuff that's going on in underneath the head coach. When players and star players and people are upset, you know how to appease them and keep the team together. I mean, like I said, the guy that you pick, he really not good at that. You know, it's just strange, man. It's very strange to hear stuff like that, man, to be honest with you, man. And it just shows you this some old timey crap, man. It's some old timey shit, man, for real.
You are watching the game where kind of we are, at least on the 700 level, which puts the Chris Olave catch for the touchdown at the far northeast corner. Just first impression.
Let me pause that for a second. Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Let me get some of these super chats. Brent, thank you, bro. Says a lot of NFL seems cult like. Big Q. Come on. Yeah, I know, bro. A lot. That's the thing that when we talk about the fanatics mentality, I don't like the term fanatic. I really don't. And people know this about me. And I don't like it because of what a fanatic does. Like a fanatic, if you think about it, you're going to research it. Fanaticism is really not a good thing. But it's the mentality that a fanatical person has that is not a productive mentality. You can't get them together and I'm saying it just keeps you away from the logical mind process. The thinking, it's a thought process, a logical thought process that you got to have to be able to kind of go through some stuff. And most of these people, they so far gone, you can't even have really good discussions with them about the New Orleans Saints. You can't talk to them about. I done had people that just hear me and come up to me and talk to me on the street about the Saints, and you can't have a real back and forth with them. And it's no disrespect to them. It's just where people are in the world. You can't, it's nothing to, it's no give and get there, it's like it's the weirdest thing in the world. But thank you, Brent. Appreciate you for that, bro. He says Amy Trask is on her task. Yeah, Amy, she gave game about him. When they hired Dennis Allen, she did an interview and said the same thing. I hope he learned such and such about such and such. And they know what time it is with Dennis Allen. We know what time it is with Dennis Allen. And you got this guy coddling him that's talking right now. Omar, thank you, bro. Say the Saints defense was bad, need more DT help. Also, you guys be okay. Mayfield and Bryce aren't better than DC. Eyes on Atlanta, load up on the D-line and O-line. So thank you, Omar. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you also, Brent. Thank you.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up and bringing me back to this world.
Yeah, this is, I mean, in the end, man, it's just going to be it's going to be a strange offseason. It really is. And not so much in terms of who they're going to sign or draft. They always do a good job of signing or drafting people in the offseason. The offseason is going to be fantastic, like the last couple of all seasons were. That's they win the offseason Super Bowl cup. They do that every year. But it's when you take what you have in the offseason and turn it on during the season is when things kind of get a little murky. But third year for Dennis Allen. And I'm gonna let Loomis finish up his whatever he's doing on there. But it's a lot of stuff, man. I'm telling you, the whole Gruden thing, him having this whole case that I'm gonna cover that right after Loomis finish speaking. We've got about another few minutes of this. So let's just get through this and we'll talk about the Gruden thing on other day. Here we go.
Impressions or reaction on that play from what you could see?
Well, look, it wasn't a lot different from a lot of his catches. I mean, Chris is so athletic. He does things that, you know, most human beings can't do. And that's just another one. It's athleticism. It's hand-eye coordination. It's all these things that contribute to him being, you know, a really unique talent. And you know, I don't know what more to say about it than that. It's just, it's not surprising, you know, because we've seen things like that. We've seen it in practice at times. And it you know, Chris is one of these guys that he's one of these athletes that makes everything look easy. And, you know, we've all seen those athletes in different sports that they don't even look like they're putting out a huge effort, and it just makes it look easy. And yet we know it's not.
Right. No, I was like, it was such a phenomenal play. I was like, don't let some tic-tac like he didn't have possession or get both feet in. It was like, that was so amazing. Make this count. I was like, it was just so impressive. So when you talked a little bit about Brian Brzee, I mean, I'm curious as to what you saw in his growth, because it just felt like, you know, man, he kind of came into his own the last half of the season and just put on some moves that you go, whoa, you know, give that kid 2 or 3 years down the road. And I know GMs and coaches don't like spotlighting particular players, particularly rookies.
Yeah.
You know, with what you saw, because, you know, from him being a first rounder, you know, the 29th pick.
Yeah, I think I would say this. I think he definitely has the abilities that we all thought he had. I think he's probably a little rawer in terms of development than what we originally thought he might be. I think the light did kind of come on the last half of the season. I think he's been well coached. You know, I think Todd and Brian Young have done a really good job with him, and we see the progress. I hope that he doesn't feel satisfied, because he's still got a long way to go. And yet, man, we see these flashes and we see these things that he can do, and we just want more of it.
He battled through injuries, but I would suspect
the Brian Brzee pick, a lot of people were skeptical about it, the Brian Brzee pick, but Brian Brzee was a guy a lot of people liked him, but thought about his injury history. He was phenomenal. Brian Brzee, big guy, very fast, very difficult to block. The future's bright for that guy. And Loomis, and he talked about several other players on the team that really, and not just rookies, but just talk about guys that really stepped up. Shout out to Paulson Adebo. He was fantastic this year. Isaac Yiadom really stepped his game up when he started whipping his head around and locating the ball and tackling better. He was playing with a lot more confidence. You know, Alante had some positives too. You know how it is in that second year. Chris Olave had some issues, but ultimately finished with 80 plus catches, 87 catches, I think it is. He was phenomenal this year for the Saints, doing his thing when he finally got going. So there was a lot of players that kind of stepped forward. Jordan Howden really did a really solid job from the safety position. Shout out to Nephi Sewell, who got hurt, but he was playing really solid. Zach Bowen finally really started to establish himself on the Saints defense, the sub package as a pass rusher. He was playing really phenomenal on special teams as well. So, I mean, Carl Granderson led the team in sacks. He got his paper. That was really good for the Saints as well, with Cam getting old, and then Peyton Turner's banged up, and Isaiah Foskey, the snowman, not there yet. So it was good to see Brian Brzee. It was good to see Granderson It was good to see some of these guys, and Pete Werner had a pretty solid year as well. So, I mean, there was some really good bright spots for the Saints. Rashid Shaheed was special once again this year. Kendre Miller in the last game of the season was pretty awesome. So in the end, man, a lot of bright spots for the Saints moving forward. But the offensive line, that's a whole nother thing. Here we go.
That this will be a very important offseason for Trevor Penning. No? Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an important offseason for him. And yeah, we've got to put him in the situation to be successful. You know, we've got to help him with his development, with his confidence. He's got the ability to be a really good player in our league. But we've got to enable that by putting him in the right environment, giving him the right development, and we'll do that. We will do that.
This is not Trevor related, but it's just the situation.
The whole thing with Ram, it's going to be the Ram check situation. Like I talked about, the Saints offensive line, it's going to be interesting. We know that Andrews Pete's contract is up. James Hurst is another guy. Trevor Penning, we're about to make a mention of Trevor Penning, where he fits in this whole dynamic. Ryan Ramczyk with that knee is really bad. And reports are he's looking for, trying to get some surgery done to it. But it is really dire and serious. It could be impactful to his future aspects of playing. That's how serious that knee issue is with Ram. So at some point, the Saints will have to address the offensive line this season, because that offensive line looked really suspect and weak and inconsistent at times. So they're going to have to figure out something. I know they got Nick Saldiveri, who was hurt during the year, and but Trevor Penning, who I believe should be right tackle, not left tackle. Do they make the switch and then find somebody else to play the left tackle position? Maybe getting another guard there, kind of beefing that up. They really need to pay attention to the offensive line as well, and I think they will. Brent says low expectations from the get-go is the root issue. Thank you, bro, for that. He also says, man, Mickey overfloweth with sophistication. Yes, Mickey Loomis is quite the elitist when he wants to be. I thank you for that, Brent. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Overall, just generically, did you see players come in from smaller schools who've maybe been, had, not big fish in a small pond, but something like that, and they have some success early, and then they have, some time struggling, and it is a confidence thing, right? I mean, you must have seen this before with players that have kind of been in that situation and kind of how to get out of it, how to develop them out of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of things, and look, in Trevor's case, look, he did come from a smaller school. I wouldn't say it was a small school; it was a smaller school. But he had some success playing against better competition. I think the biggest issue for us was, man, he was hurt half of his first season. He didn't have a real off season this last year, and so that he's behind in development. But it's not really his fault. It wasn't his fault that he got hurt. It wasn't his fault that this off season he was unable to do the things that you normally get to do going into your second year. And so we probably threw him out there a little too soon, and it was unfair. And so we've got to get that corrected.
And listen, some of that I agree with. I agree with some of that, but I think getting it corrected I think he's playing the wrong position. And because Penning has the size, he has the temperament, he has the athletic ability to play the left tackle position, but he shouldn't be the left tackle. And I was saying it then, there's only a certain rare group of offensive tackles, blindsider, that you would use for that. And he didn't fit that group. I mean, like when when guys come out, like if there's a high ranking one in the draft, who it is when you see him, and I just didn't get when I seen Penning play that he was this this left tackle. I was like, no. So with Ram being in trouble and with his career, Penning should be at the right tackle. He doesn't need to be at the blindside tackle. And then the thing about Penning is it's psychological. When you listen to him when the interviews, and we were playing him on the show, you just got to remember it. He was telling you he was dealing with confidence issues. Like dealing with confidence. It's psychological with Trevor. He has the athletic ability, the size. He can play the game, but you got to put him in a better position to be effective. And playing him at the left tackle position is all wrong. And I said it when they drafted. I said, man, don't put that kid at the left tackle position. Don't do that to him, because you got 150 million. You got a quarterback over there. He's just a rookie, and you're using a rookie to protect the blind side of the quarterback, and won't end well, and it didn't. You got to move with Ram in trouble. You got to put Penning on the right tackle position. At least that way, that'll be a better position for him to learn with less pressure from the right side. Because when Carr snaps the ball and he looks, he's naturally a right-handed dude, so he's going to turn and look toward Trevor Penning's side. You know, the left tackle position needs to be something more sturdy, a sturdier player, whether that is a free agent that they go out and get, or somebody that they like that's high in the draft, but something like that. You know, I wouldn't even draft them. Well, they got one dude in the draft, I think, maybe two of them, I'd say, that probably would be top 5 grades or top 10 grades. The kid from Notre Dame is pretty damn good. Ain't gonna lie, but we're gonna do the draft stuff later. But I just don't think that would be a good matchup. I think Penning should be at the right tackle position, not blindside.
No, Coach Allen has talked about it, but I guess on the whole Jamal Williams victory touchdown, one, if you have any comment. Two, is there going to be trickle down? Do you think that maybe next year? I mean, certainly for when you play Atlanta both times, it'll probably rear its head. But do you think there'll be any trickle down impact from this?
Oh, I don't know. I look. I think we should have nailed it down. Yes, I understand what the players did. I don't think it was malicious on their part. They're just trying to do something for a teammate. I completely understand that. There's nothing malicious about it. Yet I wish it hadn't happened. I don't think it's the right thing. I don't think. Look, I think it's been made a bigger deal of than it needs to be, and yet I don't think. I think sportsmanship is a good thing to talk about. I don't think we talk about it enough in all of our endeavors, particularly, NFL games. Sportsmanship's a good thing.
What was sportsmanship when Dennis Allen went blab to the press about what his team did against his orders? Was that sportsmanship? Just asking a question to the Great Saint Think Tank. Y'all answer me. Question to the Great Saint Think Tank. Was it good sportsmanship for Dennis Allen to go and blab to the press that his team had disobeyed his kneel-down order and ran the play for Jamal Williams? Was that good sportsmanship? Just asking. What if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander? Was it good sportsmanship? We wouldn't know about none of this if it wasn't for Dennis Allen. Was it good sportsmanship for a head coach to go and throw his team under the bus as opposed to just fall on the sword? Was that good sportsmanship? All in the name of apologizing to a hated rival who would have did the same thing to you, that kicked your teeth in if you gave them the chance. They would have kicked your teeth in and smiled at it and carried it forward. Who cares if there's blowback? What kind of blowback you talking about? Those games that you can't get any more heated in the rival than the Atlanta and the Saints matchup. It don't get any better than that. It don't get any better. Chantel says, hell no. Yeah, Derek says, this sportsmanship, this ain't the little league. Yeah, what are you talking about? That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, Doug, what's up, Doug? Doug says, hell no. Right, that's what I'm saying. Sportsmanship, I'm asking the question because I want to know. Was it good sportsmanship for him to go and blab? Because none of this would be a thing if it wasn't for him telling on his team to apologize to the Falcons. That is exactly what happened. I've never heard of that. I've never heard in all of the years of watching professional or even college football, or even watching high school football, that I ever heard a coach blabbing to the press about his team disobeying his orders, and then after he did that, he then goes and apologized to the rival team, who would kick his teeth in if you give him the chance to do the same thing to you. We wouldn't have not heard about any of this if it wasn't for him. Just letting you know. Leadership starts at the top. Joanne says, at this point, for Pierce. Chantel says, I need your email address for the Tomlin interview. I think it is. It is, let's see, the PRO Media Network at gmail.com. The THEPRO Media Network at gmail.com. Thank you, Chantel. All right. Yeah, Doug says, hey, I'm with you, bro. ATL ran the score up on us before, but they forget all of that, man. Derek, what's up, Derek? Says, if they get rid of Laddie, it's over. They want to succeed so bad. Well, I mean, a lot of that stuff is going on because of the imaginary fracture that they don't believe is in the building. But, we talked about this. Let's finish up.
And it sends the right message. But I also think it's kind of being overblown. I mean, players are trying to just do something for their teammate. It wasn't that they were trying to embarrass the Falcons. They're just trying to do something for Jamal and themselves. And I understand why Atlanta and their coach would be upset. So I guess that's all I've got to say about it.
And conversely, and this will be the last question on this topic, was that the whole fallout of Dennis's reaction, and you and I have talked about this before, that, well, he's lost the team. It's like, well, what's he supposed to say? Right?
Oh, that's just stupid.
Right.
That's just people making comments to make comments. It's stupid to say that. There's not one player that would say that. That's not, they were just trying to do a favor and do something good, what they perceived as good for a teammate. Had nothing to do with, defying the head coach or anything like that. Just,
hey, Mickey, get off the stuff, bro. Get off the stuff, man. Get off the stuff, dude. That is literally the definition of defying the coach. Get off the stuff, bro. Whatever that industrial strength clam chowder you eating on, you need to leave it alone, bro. I think it's spoiled. Bro. It might be giving you diarrhea of the mouth and the diarrhea of the brain, bro. Get off the dope, because the reality is that's literally the definition of the team turning against you. The head coach gives his team an order to go and kneel the ball down, and they run the play out of the victory formation that tricks the defense to make them think that it's going to be a victory formation. And listen, at any other situation, and I've said this before, that if a team lines up at the 50-yard line or the 40, 45 or the 35 or any of these other places and they kneel on the ball, that's one thing. But when they take a victory formation, listen to me now. All these people keep asking me questions and making comments about the victory formation. I'm going to say this because this is all of this stuff I'm about to tell you are facts and you cannot dispute it. The victory formation, I agree with what you're saying, what people are telling me about, man, that is something that it's an unwritten rule between the players with the victory and the coaches for the victory formation. It's an unwritten rule between them. It's like a handshake agreement between them, but it's not honored by referees or any rule book. A person, if they so choose to, could run a play out of the victory. And they did. The Saints did it on the goal line, which is if you're a defensive player and you got a goal line situation with the team in front of you and they've beaten you 41 to whatever the case may be, whatever the score was, 41 to 17 or 41 to 18 at the time, and they're at the goal line and they look like they're about to take a knee at the goal line, bro, be very skeptical of that. If it's on the goal line, be skeptical of that. Now, if they ran the play, which they did, notice there wasn't any flags thrown because the play wasn't illegal to run a play out of the victory. That's like a handshake agreement or unwritten rule between the players and the coaches that they're not supposed to do that. Well, guess what? They violated it just like they violate a lot of rules in the NFL and they violate a lot of rules in professional sports, period. There was no flags, and it's not illegal to do it. It might be wrong based on that agreement, but it's not illegal to do it. So I would caution people to understand that when next time this situation happens, that there's a goal or victory formation on somebody's goal line, the defense might want to be very skeptical about what's about to happen. That's all I'm saying. That is all of that is facts. So I'm just saying, watch out for that. Just I can't put it no clearer than that, man. I can't say it no clearer than that. But for real, what happened with the team disobeying Dennis Allen and Michael P. Carmichael's order to go out there and kneel on the ball and run the clock out, he didn't care about no Jamal Williams touchdown. That didn't register. I don't care. Just go kneel it down. No, run the clock out. I don't care about Jamal Williams getting a touchdown. Well, the guys out here want it. I don't care. Just go kneel it down. Word comes back to Jameis. Jameis says, no, fam, what y'all won't do. Y'all won't run it anyway? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it for Jamal. They all said that. So they go and run it out of the victory formation. They run a score up on him, and Dennis Allen then turns around, runs out, get cussed out at the front at the podium. He cusses them out, comes back out to the press conference and blabs on and tells on his team, throw his whole team under the bus. They did that on their own, and I like to apologize to them. All that. What happened to keeping that in house? What happened to good sportsmanship? See, all of that is a result of what he did. He did that. He could have kept that in house. It didn't have to play like that. Is what I'm trying to get people to understand. They did it. We didn't have to know about that. And he told the world, not players. He told the world that they did that, and he had nothing to do with it. So, but remember, that creates fractures. If a team is running plays without your permission on the field, there's a problem in your team. There's a problem. That means they're not listening to you, which is why he was upset. But he was supposed to fall on the sword for that and not ever let us know about that. That's how he was supposed to handle that. But then again, if he was a real coach, he would have understood what they wanted and would have gave it to him. So in the end, I don't advocate for any coach not to be listened to by his players or players disrespecting a coach. I don't advocate for none of that. But I also want coaches to understand, if they want to endear themselves to their teams, when they ask you for something that's not out of the realm of impossibility or something that is not wrong or immoral to do, give it to them. That'll make them play better for you, and it'll allow them to have a grander understanding of you. Like, remember that time DA did this for us? And he said, yeah, go for it. And I'll take the flack for it, whatever. If it, I'll take the hit. Who cares? Who cares if Atlanta Falcons fired ass coach is mad at you? Who cares? It'll go away in a week. Fall on the sword for the team for a week, not throw them under the bus like most backstabby people would do you.
It's silly. That's just overthinking.
It ain't overthinking at all, man. I just think at some point, that's why I'm advocating for Mickey Loomis to be replaced as a general manager. Notice the elitist way, and I've listened to these things. I'm really starting to not like Mickey Loomis because he has a very elitist way of talking to people. And Hoss is like, this guy that's interviewing him is absolutely a complete brown noser. I mean, straight up, this dude is the worst when it comes down. He serves these questions up and agrees with the person he's interviewing them. He provides no adversarial commentary to the difference. He doesn't ask the question and stand in the position of unbiasedness. He asks the question in a mocking fashion that creates the tone and the energy for Loomis to then come out with these type of comments. You see what I'm saying? He asked the question in a way which created the energy for him to then follow with that. And most of the questions that are being asked, those questions are asking that same energy, or questions that the people are presenting, because they're saying they're frustrated about this, that, and the third, and their frustrations are not being met seriously. And that's why people are upset, because you hear what they're saying and you're ignoring them. Thus, you know what they're going to do? They're going to take their goddamn money and keep it in their pocket. When it come time for you to come to them for money and for support, guess what they're going to do? They're going to ignore you. One good turn deserves another. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's what I'm talking about. So keep on what you're doing, because you're going to get the same energy in return. That's all I got to say about that, baby. Let's keep it pushing.
Take a quick break. This is the Saints Hour. Mike Hoss on with
Your family sell 3 cents per.
Washington. He said he wanted Michigan just because he didn't have to listen to the Pac-12, Oregon, northwest corner of the country. But did you watch it? And have you caught a little flack already today?
Yes, I did. And
the second.
And yeah, and look, Washington is a rival of my school, Oregon, and yet I would probably say I was in the Washington corner because of the Pac-12 ties. But Michigan played a fantastic game, well coached, played as well as you can play, and deserved to win the national championship. And so kudos to them. And now I got to listen to the Michigan guys that on our staff.
Yeah. Well, it could have been worse. Could have been Ohio State. You got a lot more of those. And
right, that's right.
So after kind of the next few weeks kind of play themselves out, and kind of the break, I guess, between Senior Bowl and Legacy Bowl, like, I mean, how do you kind of unplug? We asked this to Dennis yesterday. He didn't really, I don't think he does unplug, but what do you kind of do to kind of recharge for the next season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, I've got young kids that pay attention to. I got a couple grandkids that I'm going to pay attention to. Look, I'm excited for next season already, which typically doesn't happen for me for a few weeks, but I just see the possibilities that we have. I'm excited about it, and actually, I'm kind of anxious to get going on next year, even this soon, which may sound a little odd, but I'm excited about our prospects. I really am, and I hope that I know that our staff is. I know that our players are, and we've got some work to do, and so let's get to it.
In late January, and then in February again, I just mentioned the Senior Bowl, late January, HBCU Legacy Bowl. How do those kind of play into? Are they just kind of pieces to the puzzle as you work towards, Indianapolis and all the pro days and everything like that?
Yeah. Well, I think first, look, we go through an evaluation of our own team. We kind of assess where we're at, the areas that we want to improve, the areas that we can improve internally, and then Dennis and I and some of our other people are going to get brought up to speed on this year's college class. Jeff and his staff do a great job of that, and then we'll dive right in. Those all-star games and the combine are kind of our first pass at touching some of those players and getting to know their strengths and weaknesses, and then we're right into the draft at that point.
When you look at next year, just two more questions. First off, the draft, 14th pick. I don't know what the question is, but you'd like to be drafting much later because that would have meant a better season. But I don't know. Is that a spot where you can have some flexibility to move back and
yeah,
and move up might be tough, but maybe move back, do what you want to do?
Yeah, I think it's actually a good. We're 9-8, and I think there were 5 or 6 teams that were 9-8, and we get to pick first of all those 9-8 teams. So we could have been picking 20th. I'd much rather pick 14th than 20th because you're gonna.
Well, that make a lot of sense because you damn so GM like that today. I mean, this year, I would rather pick 20th, Mickey. That means at least we doing some shit here and we winning some games. We make the playoffs. I'd rather pick 14th, brother, if I could help it. If I could help it, I would rather not pick 14th, Mickey. I mean, I wouldn't rather that, bro. I would not rather that, to be honest with you. I wouldn't rather pick I would rather pick as far as back. That means I'm competing in the playoffs. I'm in the chase for the Super Bowl.
And I think there were 5 or 6 teams that were 9-8, and we get to pick first of all those 9-8 teams. So we could have been picking 20th. I'd much rather pick 14th than 20th, because you're going to have an opportunity. It's a good spot to, hey, we can move up a few spots if we need to at not too expensive a cost, and we might be able to slide back. I know I never slide back, but we may be able to slide back and pick something up, and
still mathematically possible,
right? We can still get an equivalent player. So I kind of like the spot. And look, from what I've seen so far, I think this is a pretty deep, pretty good draft class. So we're going to get some, not just one good player. We're going to get some good players in this deal, and where and what position and all that remains to be seen. But I know we're going to improve our team.
So for the first time since they've gone to the 17-game schedule, unless you guys get shipped all overseas again, you'll have 9 home, 8 away. And Coach Allen said yesterday, the strength of schedule means nothing until you play the actual team. I don't care about strength of schedule until you play the team. But away, you got at Dallas, playoff team, at Kansas City, at Green Bay, all 3 playoff teams, and at the Giants and at the Chargers. I mean, that's that would be tough. I don't care how you finished the year before. That's the tough places to play on the road.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I think every NFL team is a tough team to play on the road or at home. And we've said this many times in the past. It's not so much who you play and what their record is. It's when you play them. And if they happen to be playing well when you play them, then that's a tougher road to hoe. And so the schedule is a schedule. We'll play it out, and hopefully they're going to think that we're tough to play.
Totally agree. And home, only one question. I don't know if you saw that. The Denver's coming, and it'll be Sean Payton's return. That'll be interesting and fun, right?
Yeah, we will roll out the red carpet for Sean.
Just Kira, do you know, or when will you know? When do teams find out if they do have to go play in, Mexico or Germany or London again? When do y'all find out?
Yeah, that comes. I think it comes around March, maybe a little before. Sometimes they'll announce a couple at the Super Bowl. They've done that in the past. Yeah. So, but we've done that fairly recently. I wouldn't expect that we're in that rotation, but look, I don't really know. I know they've added some games, so it's above my pay grade.
Yep. Well, I appreciate the time as always. Have a great offseason.
All right, that's enough of that. And that's Mickey Loomis right there. Rolling out the red carpet for Coach Payton. All right, so anyway, shout out to the fam, man, as we get ready to go. Let's move on to the next and final article right here before we end the stream. Nevada High Court to hear NFL's appeal on Jon Gruden's lawsuit. Here we go. Nevada Supreme Court on Wednesday is hearing oral arguments on NFL's appeal of Jon Gruden's lawsuit against the league. The NFL is asking the court to reverse a lower court's decision to allow Gruden's lawsuit for negligence and international interference with contractual relationships to proceed in the courts. The NFL instead wants Gruden's complaint to be dealt with in arbitration, where it is overseen by Roger Goodell, who's named in the lawsuit. So can you believe that? Can you believe how ridiculously stupid and corrupt the NFL is? They are asking the court. They asking the court to reverse a decision to allow Gruden, who's suing Goodell in the NFL, for his complaint to be put into arbitration, where who the guy is suing, is overseeing it. You don't talk about fair play in the NFL for real. Gruden filed a lawsuit in 21 of November. Wednesday's hearing was postponed from November when attorneys citing a scheduling conflict asked for the postponement. Gruden is accusing the NFL of leaking emails he wrote to the Washington Commanders president Bruce Allen from 2011 to 18 that were rife with racist and homophobic remarks and highly critical of Goodell. The leaked emails stoked public outrage against Gruden, eventually leading to his resignation as the head coach of the Raiders, an outcome he said the league manipulated. Gruden in a lawsuit accused the league of a, quote, malicious and orchestrated campaign, end quote, to force his resignation. The email surfaced as the part of the NFL investigation into workplace culture in Washington under its previous owner, Daniel Snyder. The leaked emails found amid 650,000 documents became the only part of the league's probe that went public. And Gruden is suing for damages to find out the source of the leak. So he knows what's going on. Gruden resigned with more than 6 years remaining on the 10-year, $100 million contract. The Clark County of Nevada District Court Judge Nancy Elf denied the NFL's motion to compel arbitration in 2022, a ruling the league is appealing to the high court on Wednesday. They wanted to go into arbitration so that Goodell could have control and manipulate the arbitration. Isn't that something? You want to talk about it? That is literally the definition of a kangaroo court we're looking at. The NFL, which is Goodell, is asking the court, pleading to the court to have this situation into arbitration where he would be the guy on top of it. He's the guy that's named in a lawsuit. You think that Gruden's going to get a fair arbitration when this is crazy. This is look, they got a guy here laughing. It's absolutely crazy, man. It's just, this is the NFL. And this is the funny part too, because I was reading other documents, because there was a case, they had a guy that did a phenomenal job kind of laying it out. We did a video about it last year where the guy was breaking all the intricacies of it down. But this is really the part they put into this report, is that the email, put this in your collective. The email surfaced as a part of an NFL investigation into workplace culture that had something to do with Washington, had nothing to do with Gruden, who Goodell and Gruden do not get along. They don't like each other. And he said it became the only part of the probe that went public. Out of 650,000 documents, right, of all kind of communications that were going on with the Washington football team and all kind of other people, out of all those 650,000 documents, the stuff with Gruden was the only stuff that went public. That's what Gruden's talking about. And he knows what happened. That's why he's going so ferociously after Goodell. Matter of fact, his commentary was said last year is that he's going to burn the house down. That was his wording. He's going for Goodell. And if it comes out that Goodell had something to do with that whole situation, this could be really bad for Roger Goodell. We could probably, a lot of people don't like Gruden, but this might be something that gets rid of Roger Goodell. If the court don't go along with it and give him his arbitration request, he being Goodell, so that he can orchestrate this kangaroo court arbitration situation, it's not going, man, listen, we might be able to get rid of Roger Goodell, man, because we know he dirty. All right, so anyway, with that being said, we're going to get ready to get out on that, man. But isn't that cool, man? Wouldn't that be something that Gruden gets rid of a Roger Goodell for the Who Dat Nation? Boy, that would be worth the money right there. That would be worth the money. All right, so anyway, with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. Listen, I appreciate y'all staying up late with me tonight and putting up with Mickey Loomis and everything else. Once again, please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We up in this thing. Sports Coma representing. Today's Thursday, rather. There might be a stream later on. We're going to see how it goes, fam. A stream for Thursday. We'll go over some stuff. Perhaps, probably Thursday tomorrow. Probably a stream. We'll let you know with notification. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, to talk about more Saint stuff, man. I was just thinking about my schedule in my head. But anyway, I'm going to holler at y'all on the flip side. Y'all get y'all some sleep. Much love to the fam. Y'all hit that like button and the share button. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace and who that.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 huh? Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps